I'm still very new on YouTube, and the thing I'm noticing in the financial education and personal finance space is advice and information without too much context. People use pockets of knowledge to illustrate a concept or a topic that they like to talk about, mainly so that they can relate it to their own experiences. The question that leaves me with, though, is how much of this advice can you actually apply? How useful is it looking at a 21-year-old who lives on his own in his apartment when you're a 35-year-old with 2 children? How relatable is that? How useful is it when someone is telling you about the tenant that they've evicted when you're just battling to pay your mortgage or make rent? How useful is it seeing a guy do magic tricks and lie in a bed with $100,000 cash lying on it and teaching you about crypto when you're trying to avoid getting your assets sequestrated? My name is Matthew, and on my channel I like to talk about growing your career, your income, and your investments. And today I want to try and have a look at how much information is out there in the personal finance space that we can use. And hopefully today, if you are a bit stuck, this will help you fill the gaps. I think the problem for the content creators on YouTube is a general lack of empathy. And what I mean by that is they understand the problems. They talk about the debt crisis, they talk about the lack of savings, they talk about people living paycheck to paycheck, they talk about the lack of financial literacy. They mention it, but I don't think they really get it, because they'll allude to it, but then they'll immediately run back down the track to their sphere of comfort, be it real estate, be it cryptocurrency, be it stock investing, be it dividend investing. It'll always be something that they have a high level of expertise, whether you as one of their followers can apply this advice or not. Now, I'm not hating on any of them. I think they all do a great job. The problem is that a lot of their advice requires us to have our shit together. What if we don't? What if we don't have money to invest? What if we're just trying to dig ourselves out of the financial hole that we've created? What if we have a feeling, or we know that we've got financial issues, but we just don't quite know where to start or how to fix it? Or where's the advice for us? Where's the advice for those that are struggling a bit? Here's the gap, or at least the way that I see it. You've got a lot of people that'll tell you that you need to save money, and they'll tell you how, and they'll tell you why. The YouTube is smothered with people telling you about where to invest money. So why you must invest money, how you must invest money. There's tons of people telling you how you can make more money, be it passive income, be it make money online. People telling you how to be a minimalist, why being a minimalist is important. And then there's these last three. And the advice really here is simply just that advice. You must not live paycheck to paycheck. That is a bad idea. You must avoid debt. So it's that. Don't do that. You must get out of debt. Debt is bad. Fix that. Where is the how, the where, the why? That's the question that I'm going to try and answer in this 2-part video series that I'm starting today. So the how do I climb out of the financial hole that I've dug myself into, and how bad is it really? That's the question that I want to answer for you today. I guess the first thing for us to explore is, where does living paycheck to paycheck eventually end? Where does that road go? Well, the short answer is in bankruptcy and financial ruin. It is expected that insolvencies will increase 26% globally in 2021, 46% in the US. This is going to impact thousands of people. And remember, these people that are going insolvent, they're already at the end of the road. What about those that are sort of well on their way there? What can we do to avoid becoming one of those statistics? This is the progression. This is how it works. So first, the debt balloon swells. Then you fall behind and you can't make your commitments. Then they sequestrate your assets. So they start to take your assets so that you can honor your debts. And if that fails, then they liquidate you. You get declared bankrupt, blacklisted. You can't have access to any finance. And I can promise you that a lot of your personal relationships will get compromised along this very ugly, embarrassing, and unpleasant journey. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm just saying that this is the reality of having your finances, or allowing your finances to run out of control. So ask yourself, if you're watching YouTube videos and you're in a bit of financial strife, do you really need investment advice? If you're 100 pounds overweight, are you going to watch advice on how to train for the Olympics? The finance advice that we're getting isn't something that we can apply yet. We first need to get our house in order and our basics in place. Another way of saying that is, we need to face our demons. Remember that consumerism is a sickness and debt is the enabler. I made an entire video on that. I think the card will be popping up somewhere above my head now. If you'd like to check that out after this video, I'll go into serious depth about how consumerism and debt is having an adverse impact on people and how we can overcome this. If your finances are in a shambles and are giving you sleepless nights, I have a 3-step plan that you can follow to get yourself out of trouble. The first one of these 3 steps is to come to terms with this emotionally. So the first thing you need to do is admit that you have a problem and decide that you want to solve it. Decide on a goal, something like you don't want to feel as anxious about money anymore, or you want to pay back all the people that you've lent money to, or you're tired of receiving phone calls from your creditors and the stress of money. But whatever it is, it has to really matter because it's something that you want to commit to. That finish line, that thing that you visualize in your mind, that is what you need to commit to. That's what you need to feel. Then the second thing you need to do is you need to involve people that you trust. This is not a journey you want to embark on alone. You'll feel less lonely if you involve somebody else, and you'll have that sense of accountability. That's why when we start a new habit to go to the gym, we usually try and get somebody to go with us. If we go on a diet, we try and get somebody to go on a diet with us. It's called the buddy system, and it creates accountability to each other, and it's just a better way, a better, less lonely way to form new habits or break old ones that are difficult to break. The next thing you need to do is stop buying things. Give your credit card, put your credit cards away, get your friends to change your Amazon passwords, whatever you have to do, even if it's just for a little while. Just stop buying things. Just pause the consumption. And then take a tour of your own life. Walk around your house and touch every single material thing in your house. Ask yourself, do I use all of this stuff? And don't convince yourself just because you've looked through your house that you're now going to start using something that you don't use. Identify all the things that you don't use or that you've used once and never touched again. And then you know what you do? You sell the durable goods like appliances, furniture, exercise equipment, and you give away the clothes and the shoes. Why? Because number one, selling clothes and shoes secondhand is generally quite a difficult thing to do. But number two, when you re-gift something to somebody who's less fortunate than yourself, the appreciation that you will see in their faces when they get something and value something will help you start to value things again. You've lost sight of the value of money and the appreciation of things. Seeing other people enjoy the stuff that you weren't enjoying that was yours is going to make a big difference to your feelings and your understanding about value, the value of money, and the value of things. Learn to cook and eat at home and don't go out. Number one, this is going to help you save money. But more importantly, this is going to help you sift out your fair weather friends. Your friends that are only there just because you spend money on them when you're partying together and are only there for when you are out and about. I like to call this your social acceptance cost. You will know who your true friends are when you stop going out, because only your true friends will want to come and support you and surround you on this journey. So all we've done to date now is we've worked on your frame of mind and taken the first steps to take control. And that's good. That's step one done. You've stopped the bleeding, you know who your friends are, and you've purged your life of the clutter and the things that you don't use. Now it's time for step two, which is taking stock of your situation. Now it's time to understand where you're at, and because you've done step one, you're ready emotionally to face the reality of your financial situation, however bad it might be. So what you need to do is you need to look through your credit card statements, your clothing store accounts, every single thing to understand exactly who you owe what to. All right? And that is, you're going to pile up, you're going to make a list, and that is your liabilities. Next to that, you're going to look at anything you own, if it's cars, if you have a mortgage, those are your assets. You're going to add both columns up, you're going to subtract your liabilities from your assets, and that is going to give you your net worth. I'll do an example just now with some real numbers just to show you how. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to do a budget. You're going to take 6 months expenses and you're going to break your budget up into 3 categories. Okay, so you're going to take your spending per month for the 6 months and you're going to break it into core spending. Okay, that is where you live and unavoidable costs that we have to eat, we have to live somewhere, we have to get somewhere. All right, so those are our core costs. The second category is discretionary, things that we can choose to buy. We don't have to buy clothing every month. We don't have to have Netflix. We don't have to go out for entertainment. That is discretionary spending. So that's category number 2. And category number 3 is the servicing of debt. And we break that up into 3 sections. Long-term debt, which is something like a mortgage. Medium-term debt, which is like a car repayment or a student loan. And short-term debt, which is credit cards and clothing store accounts. We're going to hone in on that because that is the most expensive debt that you can get. Now, I made a budgeting video which unpacks exactly how to understand your spending, your categories, short-term, medium-term, long-term debts. So when you're done with this video, feel free to check that one out as well. But let's jump into my computer now and just put some numbers to this quickly. Okay, so here's an example of a net worth calculation. So you put in your credit cards and your store accounts, and you see you've got $20,000. Your student loan, which is $25,000. You've got a car that you still owe $12,000 on. It's only worth $8,000, so that's what we put here in the asset column. I put a mortgage in here. Maybe not a lot of us have one. Doesn't matter, it's just to show the concept. So that's what you owe on the property. That's what the property is worth. That's the sum of your liabilities. It's the sum of your assets. And if you subtract those two, in this case, or in this example, you're worth a whopping $11,000 when all is said and done. It's not very much money, is it? But at least it's a start point. We'll understand where we are, okay? And then I said the budget example, or the spending, all right? So we put in what we spend on core or our living costs. We put what we were spending on discretionary, clothing, entertainment, subscriptions, things that we don't need, but we want to have. And then servicing of debt. So that is the interest on our mortgage loan. This is the interest on our student loan and our car repayments. And this is our payment of our credit card and any other short-term related debts like store accounts, clothing accounts, etc. And that is our monthly outflow. This is our income. And then this is our deficit. Okay. Now, why is this deficit number important? Because if you're running at a deficit every month, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be funneling or financing this deficit by borrowing more money on the credit cards and store accounts. This is when you land into the vicious cycle of short-term debt. When you don't have enough money to cover your monthly spending, so you're increasing and increasingly growing the amount of money that you owe on your credit card. And the problem is that one day you run out of access. You go to increase the credit limit one more time, or you hit all the credit limits on the cards you have, and then you cannot fill this deficit any longer. That is where the house of cards comes down. And the way that credit card companies trap you is they make the minimum repayment incredibly low. So here's an example where I use the same number you see here, 20,000, and I just bunted it into this calculator. So we've got $20,000 on credit cards and credit card equivalents, and it only requires us to pay $300 a month. And how they catch you is they want you to owe money on the credit card for as long as possible. They want you to pay the minimum repayment for as long as possible so that they can make this massive amount of interest on the money that they've lent you. So in this example, you pay $300 a month. That means $3,650 a year over 20 years. You've paid $76,000. In return, you got $20,000. And the fees, in other words, the cost of the money was $56,905. Or put another way, 3.5 times the amount of money that you borrowed. This is the trap that people fall into. This is the trap that we need to help you get out of. Because if you get stuck in this vicious cycle, it is incredibly difficult to get out of it. Okay, and that's step 2. So we understand our net worth. We now understand our monthly deficit and how we are using our credit card to fill this void and how this vicious cycle is continuing to grow month on month. We now see it's only a matter of time before our access runs out and we are going to hit some sort of financial ruin. And that's great news. And why is it great news? Because at least now we understand the problem, both in the acknowledgement of its existence and the quantum. So the hard part is done. So if I summarize steps 1 and 2 and what we've done, we've admitted it was time to fix our financial issues and we've stopped spending money. We've involved others in our journey to support us. We've purged ourselves of our excess stuff. We've calculated our net worth and our deficit. And as a result, we now know who our real friends are. We have an appreciation of the value of money again. We understand our financial position, i.e. our net worth and our monthly deficit. And we are ready to take back control of our finances. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss part 2 of this video, where I'll explain the way that we can reduce the monthly deficit and the cost of the credit card, as well as simplifying our lives and reducing all this stress. Be sure to like this video so it can help more people on YouTube if you found that it's helped you. Please comment with any questions or feedback that you might have. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.